And welcome back to RFD-TV Live with our friends from AGROTAIN. AGROTAIN and AGROTAIN Plus as we enter a new growing season. We've talked about corn and what's on the minds of corn growers, how AGROTAIN can work there, and rice as well. Wow, learning a lot about this new crop, a new crop for this program here and AGROTAIN. And finally getting to hear from Jimmy Johnson, who has been doing this since 1975. Now we go stay in the South and looking at a cotton belt and forage crops with Dr. Harris from the University of Georgia. Glenn Harris with us, and again, great to have you here. And so we talk about cotton and what's on the minds of our cotton growers, and how does that work in with using AGROTAIN?
Right. Well, nitrogen is very important to cotton also, and we put the majority of our cotton, we put some at planting, but the majority goes out later when the temperatures are very warm. You would even say hot, really. And, you know, and we got sandy soils and hot temperatures, and it's just the conditions are conducive to urea volatilization, like Mike talked about. If you're using granular urea or if you're using UAN nitrogen solutions, which we use a lot of in Georgia and throughout the Southeast for cotton side dress. So it's very important. Not only that, we're about 40% irrigated, so that means there's 60% of the acres are dry land, don't have a way to incorporate that urea. So that's where AGROTAIN and urease inhibitors have a big fit. And then we also have some strip till, conservation tillage. We call it strip till in South Georgia. And there we usually use a small grain cover crop, and the nitrogen is broadcast, and you can't incorporate it, and you get hung up on that residue, and it's even more susceptible to volatilization. So again, products like AGROTAIN can really help us in those situations. Yeah,
different crops and little different circumstances because of the climate and the soil that the crop is grown in.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, some people say, how do you even grow anything in there? Because it looks like a sand bed. But you know, with some lime and fertilizer and products like this, we can make good crops.
Absolutely. And I understand you have some more information to share as it relates to nitrogen management in cotton, and then perhaps we get into forages too.
Yeah, I've tested, especially the AGROTAIN, for a number of years. And really, the first thing you got to do is look at, you know, if they're claiming to be urease inhibitors, you know, test to see this volatilization, like Jimmy was talking about. And so
what are we looking at here, Doctor?
Yeah, and Jimmy mentioned a volatilization study. This is how we did it, and I worked with Miguel Cabrera. He's on faculty in Athens with us, and it's what we call a closed chamber technique. And on the left, you see they're just PVC pipes with caps on them, and on the right, what we have is we use liquid nitrogen in this situation. We dribbled the nitrogen onto the soil, either with or without the AGROTAIN. And then that cup has dilute acid in it. It's basically an acid trap. So basically any nitrogen that's lost from that nitrogen fertilizer will be trapped back into that cup, and we can measure it there.
And so what did you find in this test like this?
Yeah, AGROTAIN has definitely been the product that's been consistent across the board and really shows the best urease inhibition. I have some slides to show that. I had 3 years, or 3 locations for cotton in that first trial that you just saw. And here, what you got to remember is that the shorter the bar, the better the product works, because that means the nitrogen didn't volatilize to get in that trap. Okay. So the first bar you see is the untreated urea. The second bar is an imitator product that also claims urease inhibition. But that third bar, as you see, that low one is the AGROTAIN. So it shows it definitely held back the volatilization. In fact, the last one is just the background or control, the little bit of nitrogen that comes out naturally.
And volatilization, again, is so important in all crops. But when you're again, going back to weather and soil, I would think that in cotton, it's got to be right up there to one of the main concerns for growers.
Yeah, again, nitrogen's key to cotton as it is to corn and forages too, and that gets you most out of your efficiency. We need to get every bit out we can out of that fertilizer, and this is where AGROTAIN comes.
There's a great show down there. I know maybe viewers may be familiar with the Sunbelt Ag Expo down in Moultrie, Georgia, and again, AGROTAIN showed up there in some trials that we wanted to share as well with our viewers.
Yeah, that was a volatilization, and we actually also carry these through the yield. And what you see here is, and they have a great staff down there at Sunbelt Expo in Moultrie, Georgia. Work with them, and what you see here is the first set of bars is this was AGROTAIN Plus, I believe, so the liquid nitrogen, but it's with no product added on the left, AGROTAIN Plus in the middle, and then an imitator product on the right. And as you can see, the yields with 20, 40, and 60 pounds of nitrogen, those are the 3 bars going left to right in each set. And you can see that AGROTAIN plus worked the best and had the better yield, especially at the 40 and the 60 pound nitrogen rate, which is very common for cotton.
Very good. And again, how long have you been introduced to the product that you had a chance to test this, Doctor? Is this something that's from recent for the University of Georgia or that you've been keeping an eye on?
No, I've been at the University of Georgia 15 years now, and I've been looking at AGROTAIN for at least 5 years now.
Right.
And I've looked at, like I said, a number of other products, and there's no doubt that AGROTAIN is the one that, as far as urease inhibitor especially, is the product to use.
We want to talk about forage as well, and we'll do that here. Just before we get to that, though, I want to encourage our callers. We mentioned that this is a live program, and we want you to be a part of it. And this is your time now to join us live here on RFD-TV. There is the telephone number. It's toll-free, 866-547-9696, 866-547-9696 for you to join us live now. Telephone lines are open. We talked about corn. We talked about rice. We're talking about cotton as well. Now, we haven't got to forage. You people out there, perhaps the hay ground or any forage questions, feel free to call in as well. And we'd love to talk to you tonight, answer your questions about AGROTAIN and AGROTAIN Plus here as we enter a new season.